He is the gold standard. He is Madison Avenue's new Michael Jordan. Nike is his biggest deal. That comes in at around $30 million a year. Accenture, from what I'm hearing, might have been number two. That was a $20 million deal, and this company tied its entire image to Woods. I even hear that he was on their stationery. Yeah. He was in their ads, and he was in everything else. Electronic Arts and Gillette, two more big deals. Nike's business is totally tied to Tiger Woods. They weren't in the golf business before Tiger came along, so they will be absolutely the last sponsor to jump ship.
And Mike McCarthy of USA Today. Gentlemen, this was clearly a dominating story here in 2011, but from a media standpoint, was it the biggest? Mike, let's start with you.
Absolutely was the biggest story. I mean, it's a horrible story in so many different ways, and what was also horrible about it was the way the media sort of was slow to pick up on this. I mean, I hate to say it, but the national media got beat by the Patriot News in Pennsylvania on this story, got beaten like a drum. We were slow to react. And now we're covering the story, and the next story is how many Penn States are out there.
Michael McCarthy is a sports business reporter for SportsBizUSA.com and ran the numbers and had some interesting things to say about how this all played out. Mike, thanks for jumping on. We appreciate it. In your opinion, how much money did Matt Barkley lose by not going to the NFL last year?
I would estimate over the next 5 years, he probably lost $25 million.
Oh.
$25 million, by the wayside. I mean, I completely agree with you guys. Matt Barkley, the businessman, is probably regretting this, and so is his agent.
How high was Matt Barkley's stock coming off last season, if he had entered the draft?
Well, I mean, he would have been RG3. You take a look at RG3. He's got an Adidas deal. He's got a Gatorade deal. He's got a Subway deal. He would have had all the buzz and the endorsements that RG3 ended up with. In fact, you could argue that he could have had more since his profile was higher than RG3's before RG3 won the Heisman.
Wow. Well, and the Redskins, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how good Matt Barkley's going to be, but the Redskins would have been hating it. I mean, they are loving what they got in RG3. But you're right, Mike. I mean, Mel Kiper said, in fact, as part of the article that's in the OC Register, he said that it was going to be Andrew Luck first, and then there was a competition between Barkley and RG3 to be that, I don't know if it was number 2 overall pick, but the second quarterback taken in the draft.
Right. It's a cautionary tale. I mean, like you guys, I personally admire any kid who chooses to stay in school because you're only young and in college once. But every agent out there is going to be pointing to him and Matt Lyon and saying, you see what happens when you spend an extra year in school? You could lose $25 million.
Now, we all understand the draft spot. What about endorsements? How is he being viewed now by corporations?
Well, I talk to people on Madison Avenue every day, and right now he's being viewed, I'd say, by approximately 0 corporations. He doesn't have the buzz. The best advertising is winning. He's not winning. He didn't win the Heisman. They didn't make it to a BCS or anything like that. So, I mean, right now he's kind of nowhere on Madison Avenue, and that shocks me because a year ago I would have thought he would be a real big deal.
How much do you think that Barkley's also been hurt by the struggles of Mark Sanchez with the Jets or Matt Leinart's inability to keep himself as a starter in the league?
Bingo. That is a great point. I mean, right now, Mark Sanchez is known here on Madison Avenue more for his butt fumble and his GQ covers and his celebrity girlfriends than he is for winning on the field. He's an $8 million backup. And I think that a lot of people on Madison Avenue who would even think about Matt Barkley are taking a look at Mark Sanchez and saying, gosh, what if this guy's another Sanchez or, God forbid, another John David Booty?
Not that there's anything wrong with there's nothing
Forgot about that guy.
Fashion and pretty girls. There's nothing wrong with that, Mike.
There's nothing wrong with that if you're Matt Barkley, but the endorsers in Madison Avenue are interested in money.
Yeah.
They don't give out awards for most handsome. They don't give out endorsements for nicest guy.
You rarely get paid to date hot women. And that's what's wrong with this society.
No, but it pays.
Sure.
You don't get paid, but it pays. Anyway, Mike McCarthy, sports business reporter, SportsBizUSA.com on the business of Barkley. Last thing for you, Mike, is this. How much could this change? Could it swing back in the other direction at all if he has a great combine, great pro day. Scouts start talking about him moving up the board.
Absolutely. This whole thing could change in a New York minute.
Unlike Michael Vick, whom Nike dropped during the dogfighting controversy and then re-signed, Armstrong's days as a pro athlete are over. Can you imagine any way that he can rehabilitate his image?
If indeed he did cheat and he did use performance-enhancing drugs, I think if he did some sort of televised mea culpa like Tiger Woods did or Alex Rodriguez did and basically stood up in front of the American people and the media and said, look, I did it, here's why I did it, I'm sorry, and throw himself at the mercy of the American public, I think he would be forgiving. I think Americans are forgiving people. I think Americans are all about second chances. All you have to do is look at Michael Vick to do that. And, maybe the best place for Lance Armstrong to go right now is Oprah Winfrey's couch.
Michael McCarthy, who covers sports business for SportsBiz USA and is a contributor to Advertising Age. Michael, thank you very much for speaking with me.
Thank you, Bill.
There's major renovation going on at Madison Square Garden. Mike McCarthy from USA Today comes to the debrief. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
You wrote about it. So tell us what's going on. This is a three-phase program here?
Well, David, you got a 3-year transformation of the garden. They're literally rebuilding it from the inside out. Okay. Everything inside the garden is going to be different except for the exterior and the famous spoke ceiling. You're going to have 3 phases. The first phase is going to be an all-new lower bowl, what they're calling 20 event-level suites. These are actually very cool. They're for the high rollers. Okay. Where you're actually going to come up from under the arena or under the ice and have the best seats in the house.
Wow. And you said a lot of those are already spoken for by some of these high rollers, right?
20 of those suites sold out already to a who's who of corporate America.
Okay. And now what about for the fans in this first phase? Are they going to see something different?
Well, the fans are going to get bigger seats, more comfortable seats, wider hallways. Okay. More concessions, right? And for the fans, very important, more bathrooms.
Wow, man, I'm in there in the line, even for the men's room. Usually in the men, we don't have to wait in line, but man.
Unlike Premier League football in Europe and other US professional sports, sharing this wealth equally amongst all teams keeps them competitive, as Mike McCarthy explains.
You don't have this huge gap between the richest clubs and the smallest clubs. Any team can compete for the Super Bowl title every year. And in America, particularly in a capitalist country like ours, that's very unique. As one NFL owner liked to put it, we're 32 fat cat Republicans who vote socialist.
And media reporter Michael McCarthy is with USA Today. Hi, you guys. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
All right. How would you sum up last night's commercials in one word? Would you say boring?
I don't know, Katie, if I would say boring, as I would say family values. They weren't exactly throwing the bomb. They weren't taking chances trying to create the great ad. They were trying to sort of play it safe. And that's what we saw last night.
What works in that ad, in your opinion?
Matt, I like this ad because it's touching the one radioactive subject, which is Janet Jackson, the wardrobe malfunction. For everybody to ignore that this happened last year is just silly. So in our ad meter poll on Sunday, I think this could be a real dark horse.
Okay, can I ask a question? What was the ad for?
With us now to talk about the commercials that made their marks, USA Today media reporter Michael McCarthy. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, John. Anheuser-Busch is the exclusive beer advertiser on the Super Bowl. So what Heineken did is they ran this ad in local markets where affiliates are able to sell their own ad time.
Oh, so that was not a national ad.
That was not a national ad.
So some people might not even know what we're talking about this morning.
Right. I think it ran in a lot of major markets, but it did not run everywhere.
All right. Now, can you sell that much more beer? $10 million worth of commercial?
Well, John, the Super Bowl is the ultimate high-risk, high-reward gamble. If you succeed, and Anheuser-Busch has succeeded very well doing beer ads for years, you succeed big. If you lose big. It's all in, stakes on the table, play or go.
The one that I suppose a lot of people are talking about this morning, the GoDaddy.
That's right. This was, the sort of radioactive spot of the Super Bowl. It was the only one that actually dared to spoof the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction, and it was a very divisive ad. Some of our consumers, particularly men, loved the little bit where the older gentleman grabs the oxygen, but a lot of the women in our poll were very offended by it and sort of said to us, I thought they were cleaning up the Super Bowl. Why is this ad on the air?
Yeah.
So maybe they're just tuning in for the commercials, like so many of us, Mike. Here to talk about the ads, USA Today reporter, media reporter Michael McCarthy. Good to have you here.
Great to be here.
Well, let's dive right in. Let's take a look at the first one that we want to show, which is the Pepsi P. Diddy commercial. Let's take a look and we'll chat about it. What do you think of that ad?
It's a classic Super Bowl spot. You take some celebrities, you take a good little story, you add humor. Great Super Bowl spot. It's also skewing young, which I really like. The Super Bowl audience, Martha, actually gets younger every year. A big problem last year was the ads were lewd and crude along with the Janet Jackson halftime show.